What's good, guys? We're talking about side deck today, and I want to get right into it because I'll be recapping a few side deck cards that you must be playing right now and a few new ones. This is the weekend at the time of me filming this video of YCS Vegas, so I know everybody's scrambling to find the right cards. Let's get right into it. So hand traps, we already know Drill's mandatory, but Didi Crow, I don't think people understand that this card is, I think, mandatory now, either in your main or your side. I think it's more comfortable in the side right now, so you have to play it. This card is very simple effect, quick effect. You could discard this card to the graveyard, then target one card in your opponent's graveyard, banish that target. This card is literally good against every single top meta deck, and now with the Shaddoll Invoke deck being popular, it's good against that too. So let's just talk about how it's good against everything. So the Didi Crow can hit the Master Planner in Spiral before it gets going, before it comes back onto the field and goes back into the graveyard. It can hit the Quick Fix. It can hit the Spiral spells and traps if they're just in graveyard without the Spiral monsters yet. So bunch of targets there. In the Invoked Shaddoll deck, so what they try to turbo out into is Caliga and a Winda. That's the turn 1 board. They're always trying to turbo that out. And when they make their cross sheet, if you can just Didi Crow the Caliga, then you'll only have to deal with Winda, or you could just Didi Crow when they're making fusions. They link off the fusions to pick up their fusion spells again. You could hit the fusion spells again, so you don't have to deal with a Winda on your turn. So I think Didi Crow is very versatile, and it's a dark. You could play with a lure. Have to, I think, play this. The next one, Dark Ruler No More. I really like. I see side decks still that don't play this card. This card's now good against Spiral, good against anything that makes literally anything that makes a board. Please just play this card. This card, after your activation, negate all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. And then you cannot do damage for the rest of this turn, and the opponent cannot react with monster effects with this. I'm sure everybody knows it, and I think most of the smart players are playing this. This card is going to stop the Dragon Link deck from popping your cards on your turn, or Savage Dragon or something. This card will stop the whole entire Spiral field, stop Sleeper, Appaloosa, Trigate. Why not play this? This card also is going to shut down the Caliga. If they have the Shaddoll fusion, then you might have to still deal with Winda. So I don't know how good it is against that, but it's still going to do something, and it'll deal with one of the threats there. So Dark Ruler No More. I'm sure everybody knows about this too. The Kaijus, just any Kaiju. I'm just looking at this because I know the Dinosaur deck's seeing some hype and they play this one. But please look into this too. I don't think it's like mandatory, but I think it's really good, and people sleep on how good the freaking Kaijus really are. So like very simple spot removal. There's no way to play around it, and you still can normal summon on like Sphere mode. So I think it's more generic in more decks, so consider the Kaiju as well. But after these three, I want to talk about a few more cards that are coming into my head as we come into the YCS Vegas. So first being Mystic Mine. So a few decks are playing Mystic Mine in their main deck. Mystic Mine is a very scary card, but why is this card so crazy? Right now, currently, we have not really any meta decks choosing to play spell and trap removal in their main. So that's one thing that's huge. Another thing that's huge is there's gonna be a lot of decks that just turbo through their whole entire extra deck. Maybe not even play anything that can out this. They set up this board, and if you can just press through one negate and just stick this onto the field, the game is over. There's no out in their deck. There's nothing in the extra deck that they could do. There's no deck right now in the format that can just naturally deal with Mystic Mine. In the previous formats, we've had Orcus dealing with Mystic Mine by removing their field, but there's no way none of the decks can like remove their monsters on the field. So you're going to be stuck in the Mystic Mine, and I think this card is worth main decking or even side decking. If you don't play any hand traps, or if you're a blind second deck, I highly recommend main decking Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine is going to steal you wins that you should not be winning, and people are just not going to be prepared for this. I thought we were going to see this at the UDS, and I think a few decks were playing it, like Mystic Mine Burn and stuff like that, but this card can be just splashed into anything. And because hand traps are getting significantly weaker because so many of them don't do enough except like Droll and Didi Crow, I think it's worth considering just not playing any hand traps and just playing like Terraforming, Set Rotation, Mystic Mine, all those cards. So highly consider this. Literally a free way to steal a game. After they see it once, they probably will play Twin Twister or Cosmic for you. But really good card. It just shuts down all monster effects, and you just deck them out. If they don't, you just ask them, "Do you have an out? Don't waste my time." Like that's it. And most of the time, they will just scoop to it after drawing like 5-6 turns. So that's one card. And then the next card I want to talk about, Anti-Spell and Imperial Order. So what does anti-spell do? This card's really old, and it comes in and out all the time. Both players must set spell cards before activating them and cannot activate them until their next turn after setting them. And along with that, I want to also talk about Imperial Order because they're kind of the same function. Negates all spell effects on the field once per turn during the standby phase. You must pay 700 life points. This is not optional, or this card is destroyed. So both of these are for decks that use spell cards. Right now, I don't know if anybody's realized, but every deck uses spell cards, and a lot of decks also choose to blind second. So you could just, I think these cards are really good in the side deck. They just hit so many cards right now, not just main deck cards, not just the engine of the deck itself, but it also hits side deck cards such as Lightning Storm, such as Darkweiler No More. I really think people are sleeping on this. I definitely am going to be siding this card going forward, especially for February. The way our format is right now, spells are just stronger. The spells that we have are just so crazy. Like Dark Ruler No More. Freaking every deck has just mandatory spells that they need to resolve, like Spiral Resort, or think about in Shadow's every single fusion spell besides their quick play, like they have to use it. They're just normal spells. They would have to set them. I think this card's a really good option for the Shadow deck. This card's really good just going first. Whenever you go first with Imperial Order or Anti-Spell, I think the game's usually over. It's very hard to play around it. This card stops Mystic Mine, it just stops so many cards, and once siding is done, there's just even more spell cards that you're gonna have to deal with, and these cards just say no to all of them. And if you can just stop their initial push into your board, you could just win the game on the following turn, the third turn. So guys, like, really look into anti-spell and Imperial Order. I really do like these cards right now, just because like everything's coming together for these cards again. Anti-spell is so good versus the Invoke Shadow deck. Even just Shadow is like anything. When is anti-spell not good? It's only not good versus trap decks, but that's why I'm saying just side this. When you go first, you put these cards in, draw them, you probably just win the game. So Anti-Spell, Imperial Order, Mystic Mind, these are some side deck cards that are just, I haven't talked about yet, that I think are like gonna be gaining a lot of traction, especially for this weekend. Look into it. And then the obvious ones, the Didi Crows, the Droll and Lockbirds, the Dark Ruler No More, Kaijus, the Sphere Mode. There's so many cards, but like these three, I really want you guys to look into it. Mystic Mind, Anti-Spell Fragrance, and Imperial Order. Guys, let me know what you guys think about these side deck cards, these new ones that I'm talking about. And is there other side deck cards that I really haven't talked about that you guys think are just insane this format? So subscribe and stay tuned for more.